Hey everybody, welcome to TC349 Client-Side Web Design. My name is Jeff Ciardo and I'm going to be your instructor for the next 6 or 7 weeks as we kind of go through all sorts of different topics in web design, from basic design theory and color theory all the way through HTML5 and CSS3 and hopefully most everything in between. So this is a summer class, so it's a little shorter, so things are going to move pretty quick over the next, like I said, 6 or 7 weeks. So just be ready, ask a lot of questions. I'm fairly available most of the time through the week via email. I'm also thinking about doing some live sessions, some like online chat stuff. I'm trying out a few different things right now, and I will let you guys know what I decide. And if you guys are in the East Lansing area, you can feel free to set up office hours with me. My office is in the Technology Innovation Center above the old Barnes & Noble building in downtown East Lansing, just across from campus. So there's always that option as well. So I just want to quickly go through the website and the syllabus and just kind of talk about generally how the class is going to go this semester and what I expect from you guys. And then I want to touch on a few other things, and then we'll wrap up this particular screencast. So I'm not going to go through and read the entire website to you. You guys can do that. This is just the homepage. This will be the blog, so eventually other class announcements and general tips and tricks will appear here. So this is just the first post. You can see the archives, but again, there's nothing there yet. So let's hop right to the syllabus. So the syllabus, like I said, my name is Jeff. That is how you can email me. I'm available on Twitter, and you also see my office address there if you need to schedule office hours there by appointment. Hopefully all of you know what to expect from this course. This is client-side web design, so this is a class on how to design websites from the client end. So this is not a server programming class. We're not going to be writing any Ruby on Rails or writing any PHP, but we will be writing lots of HTML, lots of CSS, and possibly even a little JavaScript. So you should have some prerequisites before you're taking this class. I'm expecting that all of you know what HTML is, have written it before, can explain it, also what CSS is, and the general basic piping or inner workings of the internet. How a page is requested, what's actually kind of happening there, and that you have a fundamental understanding of how domain names work and the DNS system and things like that. So I'm going to assume that knowledge. So if you don't know what the domain name system is, or you don't have a fundamental understanding of how the internet works, or you've never seen HTML and CSS before in your life, you probably have some catching up to do, so you should get on that right away. Anyway, moving on, required materials. I sent an email out last week about what I need you guys to have. The book is Bulletproof Web Design 3rd edition. If you have the 2nd edition, that might be okay. It probably should be alright. There's about 15% of the changes in the 3rd edition are in the HTML5 and CSS3 area. So they're not huge gaping holes, and hopefully we'll cover them in other places. But if you have the 2nd edition and can't get a hold of or don't want to buy the 3rd, that should be okay. 3rd edition is best. You won't have to go searching for any of the other material if you have the 3rd edition. So get that book. A GitHub account, it's free and easy to set up. That's where we're going to be hosting all of our code, and that's where you're going to be handing in your assignments. You also need to get Git set up on your computer. You guys need to take care of that on your own. If you're on a Mac, it's fairly straightforward. If you're on a Windows, it's fairly straightforward. So I'm hoping you guys can follow those instructions and get Git working on your machines. And finally, you'll also need a blog. Any blog will do, any platform. If you already have an existing blog, just go ahead and use that. That's fine. Grading. 60% of your grade is going to be the weekly lab assignments. That's the main assignment each week. 25% of your grade is going to be writing and blogging assignments. Those will also be each week. And then you'll have 15% will be your final project grade. We will be working on the final project incrementally throughout the year, so it won't get dumped on you all in the last week. Incrementally throughout the summer, excuse me, because we're on a shorter semester, I want to make sure there's enough time to do that. The final grade distributions are based on class performance. It's a slight curve. In the past, my classes, a 4-point typically scores an overall between 92 and 94%. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking about the grade distributions in your head. So the next on the list here is assignments. There's screencasts, labs, writing, and the final project. You can read about those. They're pretty self-explanatory. The important thing I want to emphasize on this page is the Google rule. So there is a metric ton of relevant information about web design on the web, and it's really, really easy to find. So most of the time when you're encountering a problem in web design, or you're stuck with markup, or you can't get a CSS rule to look right, or you can't get a particular web page to look right, more than likely someone else has had that problem too, and it's best to go seeking that solution online before you either A, give up, or B, ask me to help you figure out the answer. So I'm definitely here to help you guys, and I'm definitely here to guide you through this learning throughout the next 6 weeks. But you need to show me that you're making a strong effort to research some of these fixes on your own. Part of what I'm going to try to teach you guys, in this summer is how to find these answers on your own and how to be resourceful web designers. You're not always going to have someone that can pass you the answer, and a lot of times I'm not going to necessarily know the answer off the top of my head, and most likely I'll have to go do some research. So do some of that research for me, come to me with some possible solutions, and we'll help you work through your problems. But don't be lazy. Make sure you do some digging before you come asking me. So finally, the summer schedule is also here, so you can see generally what we'll be covering each week. That's probably going to change and be a little fluid depending on where the entire class is at in terms of skill level and how much we can actually get done each week. So consider that schedule tentative. And finally, there's the lessons tab. So here you'll see the full set of screencasts, reading, and the assignments for the week. I won't spend too much time on this. If you have any questions regarding any of the assignments or anything that I would be expecting from you, feel free to send me an email or ask me in some other way. So that's pretty much it for the class. I'll be keeping the site up to date throughout the semester, and I'll also be blogging on a regular basis when I find interesting articles on web design, when I want you guys to, when I feel like you might need help with a particular subject. I'll kind of add code samples and other little helper bits throughout the semester on the blog as well. So the next thing I want to discuss briefly is the text editor. So your first assignment this week is going to be reviewing a bunch of different text editors and then picking one that works best for you. And the reason you're going to be doing that is because we're going to be doing most of our development in a text editor. We're not going to be using a WYSIWYG, we're not going to be using Dreamweaver or FrontPage. We're going to actually be typing HTML and CSS. We're going to be designing websites by hand. So you're going to want a text editor that's going to help you with that process. You don't necessarily want to be typing every single command, every single tag, every single ID. You want a text editor that can help you with that. So this is part of your first assignment, is to go and do some research and find a really good text editor that you can use to create HTML and CSS. So that's the first assignment, but I wanted to prepare you guys for that we're going to be working in browsers and text editors and not in full development environments like Dreamweaver. So finally, you'll also, Mac users, you'll want to start to get comfortable in the terminal. Windows users, you might potentially be using PuTTY, but you also may have to find other solutions for doing some of the things we're going to be doing in terminal, such as using Git, and you can find the Windows instructions for Git online. But make sure you're comfortable using a terminal. Make sure you're comfortable typing commands in. If you're a Mac user and you're new to the terminal, jump in there and kind of snoop around a little bit. Maybe you do a couple tutorials on interacting with the shell and just make yourself familiar with that. And at that point, if you just keep up with the reading and keep up with the screencasts and ask questions, you should be in for a pretty exciting semester. And I'm really hoping we're gonna cover a ton of stuff and really learn a lot, and I'm really hoping I can make you guys better web designers at the end of this. So good luck this semester, and if you have any questions, just let me know. Talk to you soon.